to just go out and like I don't know. It's just the way Osen views battles, like I said, in terms of mindset, it's like that nigga is always looking for you know what I'm saying? He's always I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like when they took Retsubi, it's like there was no resting on the laurels. It was no easy time. It was, all right, we took the city. Yo, Ako, I need measurements of this. I need measurements of that. Yo, send this unit to go do this. You know what I'm saying? He's always on time. So, like, that's what I mean by mentality.
Yeah, but I don't think always being on time is something that important to where you'd put him S tier because of that. Especially in a
Yeah.
campaign like Gyo where everything was so time intensive. So, that's just a given. But yeah, let's talk about Olsen since we were already talking about him.
hmm
Mike's in the chat. What's up, Mike? You were there last time, I think. Oh yeah, he was. Yeah. What's up, Mike?
Hold on,
So
let me
yeah,
pull up.
Olsen. I think he has a good mentality. Definitely better than Hakuki, who we kind of heard he wouldn't in terms of situations like Gyo, he might not even accept those type of battles because he's just too cautious. Osen's kind of the same vein, but we saw many times in the Gyo battle that he's willing to take that risk if necessary, and even during Hango, so stuff like that. Osen definitely is better than Hakuki, but is he an S tier? I don't know about that because he does have his faults. He still is a bit overly cautious, I would say, and he does have that whole he wants to recruit Riboku, he wants to make sure he could build up his kingdom type shit. So I think that definitely is a weakness that showed to be a weakness in the Gyo arc. And he also might be missing the eye of the tiger a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like the way he was criticizing Ohan, where he said Ohan is trying to do too much. He's not preserving himself as someone of the head family. I think Ohan was kind of right in that situation for how adamant he is about going about these situations. No matter how injured he is, he needs to pull through. This is his chance to grow, all that type of stuff. I think Ohan was kind of correct in that situation. So I do think there is some
um,
flaws to Olsen's mentality, and it did backfire on Hongo because we know, as per Hara, he would have easily taken out Riboku if he wanted to, but he didn't want to. He wanted to make sure Riboku was on his side. He wanted to make sure Riboku had no choice but to join him. So that did bite him in the ass as well.
yeah. Okay, I'll give you Hongo. I'm gonna push back on the Uhon thing because he wasn't disregarding Uhon solely because he came. He was disregarding Uhon because of how little numbers he brought. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that, oh, like you're here, you're useless. Why are you here? This is pointless. It was, nigga, you're hurt as fuck and you brought 12 people with you. Like, this is really not, like, in the grand scheme of things, this is not a smart move. You know what I'm saying? So, on that, I think the mentality was correct. Like,
I would say it's a
given the
smart move though,
circumstances,
because if Osen dies, then nothing matters, and it might not seem on the surface that it's gonna have some huge impact, but you never know. Like Ohan is still a powerful combatant. He might be able to turn things around, and he kind of was clutch. Well, he maybe not, because we don't know how strong Osen is, but Ohan swatting Fute like a fly might have been clutch. You never know, but it's one of those situations where sometimes you just gotta take a chance and say I'm a very important player. I might not know exactly how this is gonna save the battle or if it even can, but it gives us a higher chance of victory. So I'm gonna take that risk and do it. And I think he was right in that situation.
no, again, he was right in the move he made. But, okay, I'll put it to you like this, right? You notice how Olsen didn't say anything negative about Moten doing the exact same thing?
Yeah, but Molten was also more free than Ohan.
Moten,
Ohan didn't really have an opportunity to bring a fuck
well,
ton of
but what I'm
troops.
saying is, right, but this is what I'm saying. Like in Olsen's mind, it's like while coming here might serve a point. It's like if you didn't have the men to be like put it like this, right? You coming here and being effective is a 50-50 prospect with 12 people. Whereas you coming here and being effective with a larger force is a guaranteed thing. So in Osen's mind, Uhon was taking too much of a gamble. You know what I'm saying? In that sense, like I said, personally, I would push back on that one. I don't think that mentality was wrong.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I
think
think I think
Uhon's
Olsen
mentality
I
was
think
wrong.
Olsen knew that Ohan didn't have the opportunity to bring more people, or he would have. So he's like, given the situation, you should have basically just given up and just
Hey,
hope that I would have survived.
or done another like or like I ain't gonna lie. I think in Osen's mind, he was like, with your little bit of numbers, you should have just joined Shin and them and pressured Reboku more type shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like, imagine what would have been the case if like while Shin is dueling Hoken, Uhon and Akakin went after Reboku. You know what I'm saying? Like the dynamic of that battle changes. So like in Osen's again, I'm not saying either one of their mentalities was wrong. I'm saying they were both. I'm saying they were both right for their own reasons. Because in Osen's mind, it's like nigga, get the job done. Go after Reboku. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I see what you're
Especially if you're
saying.
gonna come at me with
I'm not
so
necessarily
little.
saying that situation in itself prove that Osen's mentality is flawed. It's just that mentality can be attributed to other situations, and it
Yeah,
could bite him
like
in
I
the
said,
ass.
I give you the Hongo bit. The Hongo bit is definitely one where his mentality, you know what I'm saying, bit him. But yeah, the Uhon thing, I'm gonna push back on, and the Gyo, um, I don't necessarily see like him trying to recruit Reboku at that moment. I mean, the Battle of Gyo, he pretty much like yes, he lost the quote unquote advantage, but like his
It's a pretty
decisive
big
blow.
advantage, my guy. It's a pretty big
I'm
advantage.
saying, but his decisive like, but that's contingent on his mentality being that this is the final blow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, throughout the entirety of that war, the decisive blow was going to be a flank. Like, that was what they were both setting up for. So, given the fact that he's like if he didn't have Shin or the possibility of you know what I'm saying, reinforcements coming and flanking, then yeah, it's a bad mental move. But like, he knew the board so well. And mind you, this is before Reboku, like this is right at the same time that Reboku had just gotten the word about Gyo's food supplies being burned. So Reboku was in a flustered situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he had time to play. Not
Yeah,
saying it was the best move, but he had time. Like
yeah,
he
but
wasn't in
taking
dire
those
straits.
risks, especially when there's the whole food supply situation, and I don't think Shin pincering them was necessarily like a death blow where it's guaranteed they win now. They have no chance of losing. Part of that is admittedly because of Hoken, but I still think there was some risk to all of that when he could have basically guaranteed the battle. And it's like at that point, what are you doing if you're not guaranteeing the battle? Y'all been through so much, and this is such a
Hey
pivotal
man,
battle. If you can kill Riboku, like that's huge.
right. But if you can recruit Reboku, that's even bigger. Like, you know what I'm saying? And again, given the totality of the situation, from Olsen's perspective, he's sitting pretty. Like the rest of his army doesn't know about the food supply coming from Key. Most of his army didn't know that the food stores was burned in Gyo. That's why literally right after the battle, then Remy was chill as fuck. He was like, yo, relax. He like before long, this entire area is gonna be flying our flags. We're good. Like, you know what I'm saying? So from Olsen's perspective, it's like, nah, I'm sitting pretty. I got an ace in the hand that this nigga don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, but
again,
even then, that came down to the wire because they only did enough damage to where they can go back to Gil, but it was still so razor close where the people from Key came just in time, and Riboku's forces weren't necessarily strong enough to siege them, but they weren't that far off. Like it was still a risky situation because they were fucking starving still.
yeah, but I'm saying every war has its risk. But again, we're talking about Olsen's mentality, not the army situation. Because yeah, the army
His
situation, the
mentality
army
depends on the
morale.
situation. It's showing what types of risk he's willing to take for recruiting people like Riboku, which obviously if he can recruit Riboku, that's fucking massive. So I understand, but he's still willing to take risks for his own selfish desires, which I think is a flaw, and that kind of showed in Hango as well,
Mm,
which we saw. We know he could have easily gotten Riboku, but he fucked up. He tried to go about it a different way, so he can end up recruiting him. And he also does have this whole I'm the king. I don't really need to make a move myself. I don't need to kill fodder myself type of thing, which we
that's not
saw.
true.
That is true
That's not
because
true.
he waited until Fute and Bonanji got to him. He's like, I'm not going to move until I absolutely have to, instead of just cutting through and escaping from that situation to begin with.
That's not no, because like when he first got attacked, he killed fodder. Like he called for his glaive, killed some fodder, and then tried to reorganize. Like when it was just Fute, he was gonna handle just Fute. They like he had his soldiers maneuvering to just stall Fute. Like
No, but he could have killed
it's
Fute himself, and even when Bonanji came, it was when Bonanji was almost there that he killed like three fodder just to get like a bit closer, just to move up a tiny bit. Like he could have definitely done more if he wanted to.
Yo, shout outs to Jon Snow. The title says Tekken Gaming.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not denying that there's flaws in Osen's mentality, yes, but again, giving his position as supreme commander, these flaws are warranted. Like the selfishness is warranted. It's like, what is it? Like that's part of being a great general. You know what I'm saying? Is that you're selfish enough to force shit to go your way and to force shit to you know what I'm saying, to force shit at your pace. So it's like, is everything perfect? Are there risks involved? Yeah, but from his side, I have all of the aces. Like from his side, I'm sitting pretty. I know what my niggas is gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Again, barring your Hoken coming, Shin coming from the pincer was a death sentence. You know what I'm saying? Kinmo lasted fucking a chapter or two. You know what I'm saying? And then Hoken lasted like 5 chapters. That's what allowed this nigga to escape and shit. Now I get it. If you know what I'm saying, if you just destroy the entire army before Hoken gets there, but we don't know if that would have been the case. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have no idea if Osen decided to go all out, if that fire or if that steam would have caused the heavens to stir so much that Hoken would have showed up early. So you know what I'm saying? Like it, yeah, it's like it's all speculation, but like I said, I don't think that those flaws are enough to say that he's still not top 10, top five.
I don't know about top 10, but basically I'm saying that he's not in the top tier list. Whether that's top 10 or not, I guess we can kind of decide that. But let's think of someone who is at the top, the very top of the list. I think Ako would definitely be there. You could argue Shin, though Shin definitely has some faults as well. You were saying Toe. I don't know if you were trolling or not, but apparently you
In
think Toe is
terms of
up there.
general's mentality, fuck yeah. He's never too heavy handed. He's never too light. He's never, you know what I'm saying, braggadocious. He's like literally balanced in all areas.
Yeah, but
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
those
I'm
things don't
not
really matter per se. It's more so his personality. It doesn't affect how he battles that much.
I'm saying though, his mentality is what keeps him calm and collected during those stressful moments. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, but
I'm
he's also
outnumbered.
missing a bit of that fire. He could do more if he really wanted to. And I would say that definitely bit him when he was facing Koyoku, and for one reason or another, maybe because he knows Oki looks forward to the growth of those types of people, so subconsciously he was holding back and he wanted to see what Koyoku can do in the future. I don't know. But he didn't finish off Koyoku. He didn't even really give him that many scars or that many injuries. It seems like he definitely held back in that fight. And I'm not really sure why exactly. I know Toe fans will definitely argue that he held back that fight. They'll fervently argue that shit.
I mean, yeah, because like we never like I put it to you like this. He was more intense fighting Yoko and Rakuan than he was fighting um the Byakuya Sword kid. And honestly, I just think that one, it'd be a waste of like character. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, it's a war, but at the same time, it's a story. So it's like if he fights Toe the first time during the coalition with all the bloodlust of, you know what I'm saying, Rimbunkin and his general dying and shit, and died right then and there, it's like, all right, what was the point? What was the point of building up the sword? What was the point of building up the archer kid as his like right hand? Like, what was the point of him and Shin having that interaction before the coalition? Like,
All
if
to lead up to show how legit Toe's mentality is, but it wasn't like that, unfortunately. It wasn't like that.
I don't think that's what I'm saying. I don't think mentality necessarily means you have to kill everybody you like. If that's the case, then Renpa's mentality ain't there because he let a much weaker Shin live.
What the fuck is this?
You know what I'm saying? So
Ended
Ousen,
up
I
clicking
have
a fucking
won.
pop up or something. I don't know.
But Yeah,
Okay,
like
so yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
so we was talking about toe. So yeah, like again, I think a general's mentality depends on the army around him. And like Toe, like we was talking about, like Toe's army is not set up for him to go all out. Cause like if Toe goes all out, like say if Toe had the mentality of mobile, right? He can't, like his army wouldn't be able to sustain it. You know what I'm saying? Like Toe doesn't have the morale boosting that mobile does. You know what I'm saying? And he's a good fighter. He's a great fighter, but even he has his limits. So it's like, nigga, the mentality is to always put yourself in the optimized position for success. And I feel like Toe does that very well. Like, could he always do more? It's like, yeah, but nigga, every general could always do more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not an arc in Kingdom as of late that you haven't looked at, like, Yotanwa, Kanki, Osen, Raboku, and like, nigga, y'all could have done more. Like,
Yeah, but then we
but
do that is a good point to get us to talking about some of the S tiers because we do have some characters like Ohan. He's definitely one of them that he's always trying to do the most at all times. Shin is also another one of those characters, but he's more flawed than Ohan. He definitely has his flaws. Eiko is always
yeah,
trying to do the most, so that's three characters we could potentially put at the top tier. Mobu as well, though he is also obviously flawed with his not meathead mentality, but like meathead light mentality.
and
So
nigga, I
I'll,
mean,
I'll definitely put
Akko.
Ohan. I'll definitely put Ohan and Eiko at the very top tier, just off the bat, so
See,
we
I
could kind
can't.
of like you can what.
See, I can't necessarily do that. And you know, Akko is my dude. I fucks with him heavy. But in terms of mentality, that nigga puts himself in too many precarious situations. You know what I'm saying? Like he literally puts himself in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's never worked out for him. He's a
Well,
strong fighter,
the only
great
one you can really
strategist,
blame
but
him for is the Hongo arc. For the joints, you can't really talk shit on that because he had a great reason to think they're not going to break through this formation. It's not like he banked on being able to survive Bonanji and Gil in 1v2.
no, you say no, but at the same time, it's the predictability in his movements, right? We've seen it twice now where he'll start a charge, right? Like the one he did against Gakue and the one he did against the Sekai boys. But then if he sees something off to the side, he'll literally take half his forces or redirect the entirety of his forces to go attack that other thing. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm not, how do I say?
Mm,
I put it like this, right? Akko's mentality is a bit too reckless to be top tier. That's the perfect way to describe it. He's strong.
I
He's
wouldn't
confident in
agree because I
himself.
think I think with the Riboku situation with it being Riboku that was the perfect scenario to really take advantage of him. And I think if that situation more than anything was kind of a lack of an IQ more than just being too reckless, I don't think the decision itself was that bad. And definitely against Gakue on the first day, you can't really say much because there wasn't much of a risk because he was already dominating Gakue, and he pincered Banaji, which was a good play. But Banaji
I'm
was
saying
able
the
to turn it
risk
around
was
with
the
the morale
other.
and retreat and stuff like that.
I'm about to say the risk was the other two generals because if it wasn't for Uhong, Banaji would have destroyed a good bulk of his army. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he started to charge, then diverted to go attack Gakurai. Then Banaji came in and started flanking him. And Uhon saved him from that. And then they started, you know what I'm saying? And then he got back to it. But it's like on his own, he would have got fucked because he's reckless. Because you know what I'm saying? He's like, my charges, I'm unstoppable. And again, I fucks with Akko, but in terms of mentality, if we talking flaws keep you out the S tier, nigga, that's a pretty big one
See, I don't
that
know if
he's so
I don't know if
easily
targeting
goaded.
Gakue really changed anything necessarily. I think the more important part was him going after Bonanji. That was him kind of the second he sees something really substantial, he doesn't really hesitate to go after it if he deems it worthy.
Right. But I'm saying after all right, so he started at Gakurai, then diverted, went, you know what I'm saying, got pincered by Banaji, came back for Banaji, and then Gakurai caught his second win. You know what I'm saying? So again, if it wasn't for Uhong being there, he would have got four. Maybe a Kaka would have stepped up then, and that might have been nice. But still, you get my point. Like that was a reckless move. Then you put on top of the fact that while yes, he's not expecting them, or it's reasonable for him to think that he can hold out. It's still three top tier generals, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I'll give you that. Reboku had to come and help them. Then with the shit at Hongo, it's like, my nigga, you know it's a trap. It's the same thing with Conky. It's like you knew it was a trap and still dove headfirst into it because you thought I'm just better than the trap. And it's like, bruh, that
Sometimes you just be
recklessness is
better
a
than the
flaw.
trap. It be like that sometimes.
I mean, not for Akko.
Yeah, that wasn't the case for
Like,
Aiko. I mean, definitely
like,
wasn't
you know
the
what I'm
case
saying?
for
Like, I'm just
Conky.
saying. Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if in hindsight is always 2020, right? But in hindsight, if Akko had the mentality of, yo, this is a trap, I'm not falling for it. Let me just wipe these Sekai niggas in front of me out. The battles are completely different.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? The
I don't think
battles
he's just wiping out
completely different.
Gakusho's forces like that. Gakusho was a formidable opponent.
No, he was, but you get my point. Like it's the mentality of let me focus on the like. Yes, Reboku is the objective. He is the big cheese. But if I know this is a trap, I know this is fishy. This is exactly what Reboku has done the last what 3, 4 wars. Like between Mako, Kanki, um, who was the nigga before that? Mako, Kanki. I guess if you want to count Oki, like you know what I'm saying, like this is Reboku's MO. He flanks niggas, shows up, leads you to chase him. He relies heavily on the speed of his northern horsemen. You know what I'm saying? And he gets away. Like this has been his MO.
Well,
So it's the same
I don't
thing.
think it's as simple as not taking the bait though. Sometimes taking the bait is the right play and overcoming it. And one situation that comes to mind is Denrimi and Soho against Riboku when they didn't take the bait and then ended up fucking them over because it left Ousen open. So sometimes that is part of Riboku's plan for you to not take the bait. So it's really context dependent. And I think he did come off a bit fucking dumb looking, but at the same time, I understand why he did it. He is the Ocean Army's Iron Man. That is the type of situations that he can overcome. So it's like him relying on his specialty is not really something I'd place too much blame on him for. But at the end of the day, I do kind of agree that Riboku pulls up. If Riboku of all people, one of the smartest generals in China, is going to do something that risky, then probably think twice about taking the bait. I do agree on that.
Right. And it's not even just take like because like there's 1,000 ways to go about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing if I'm Akko, I see the bait, I see Reboku over there, I know it's a trap. Let me myself take half my army, divert them over here, and just leave the first wave to their own devices, and then the third wave is just gonna let's go help Akko. You know what I'm saying? It fucked up the entire center battlefield.
But I don't
He
think
could have
anything less
easily,
than that would have had any feasible chance of actually getting Riboku. I think you had to take a risk that big.
but that's the point. You know you're not about to get Reboku. You know it's a trap. So what you do is you send a diversion. You send 1,000 men after him. See what the trap is. Oh, okay, that's what he got. All right, now given what I just saw, what's the odds of me actually getting to him now? You know what I'm saying? You don't just literally see him and divert. Put it like to you like this, right? Oh, perfect. Perfect. Mike Keem said it in the thing. This is Bayou Mobile.
Nah, don't disrespect Aiko like that. Do not
This
disrespect
is
Aiko
Bayou.
like that.
He saw Hoken and ran. He saw Hoken and literally went. And the next thing you know, it's like, my nigga, we too far from the flags. Yeah, but Hoken's right there. It's like, oh,
Nah,
I
he didn't chase Riboku into some fucking into some
boulders.
crazy cliffs in between cliffs like that. Like it's all very context dependent. I don't think if he sent a
No, I'm
thousand
saying,
people, it would have really done anything. At that point, he might as well just not send anyone and just proceeded with the battle. Because you either go all
I
in or
mean,
like nothing's gonna happen.
but that's the thing though. He could have sent 1,000 niggas, 5,000 niggas, and then still told the high Shin unit, "Hey, yo, Reboku's on your flank." You know what I'm saying? And he still would have been more in a more advantageous because you got to remember Reboku waited there for a minute because his whole plan was to either kill Akko or to separate Shin from the battlefield so Shin and Uhon couldn't do nothing. So it's like if you send instead of you going yourself and getting fucking penciled in a 3v1, if you send 1,000 men, like I said, you see that trap get sprung, or you don't spring the trap. Now what's Moroku's not gonna sit there and really waste time just trying to kill 1,000 men. No, he's gonna dip. And at the time that he's dipping, now you send that message to the high Shin unit, yo, Roboku's over here, try to flank him. You know what I'm saying? It's the same outcome. Shin and them is not gonna get to him because the fucking Thou horsemen are just that beast, right? And you know what I'm saying? Shin and them is gonna fucking siege the city seize that little fort shit for a little bit. But Akko himself is still in an advantageous situation if he had a better mentality about how to proceed. But his mentality is always, nigga, I'm gonna go fuck that shit up. Me
Nah, I
personally,
don't agree with that.
I'm gonna go.
I don't think that's the case. I think he just thought that specific situation, it was worth it. It was strategically the right play because of, the abilities he has being the Osen Army's Iron Man. And I think it makes sense for him to think he knows himself better than Riboku knows himself. So it's very possible for Riboku to underestimate him, and he could come out on top in that situation. I think it was very context dependent. I don't think it's comparable at all to fucking Bayo Mobile, who just went fucking crazy and fell for the most obvious trap because he didn't give a fuck.
I
I don't
mean,
think it's
it's
comparable to
bro,
that at all.
bro, a plastic surgeon clone Hulkin is not obvious. Like nobody and their grandmother knew that. Like, come on, man, that's never been done before or seen since.
No, but just
Like, you know what I'm
some
saying?
type of trap was waiting. I'm not even necessarily saying you should have expected the giant raisin rocks, but something,
Like,
something.
but this is what I'm saying. Both of them should have expected something. The only difference between Biomobile and Reboku is that Biomobile has a longer chase.
No, there's also Ako has more of a reason to think he can overcome whatever Riboku sends because he knows Riboku didn't send that many people. He knows he's the Osanari's Iron Man. He can survive crazy shit, and he knows for Riboku to actually put up a credible threat to him, he's gonna have to put himself at risk. So he was banking on his ability to overcome whatever happens to him, compared to Riboku putting himself at risk, and he might be able to take him out because Riboku doesn't know the full extent of the strength of Ako's army, and he got caught off guard by that too. So meanwhile, Mobu, he knew whatever trap they had waiting for him, it was going to be nasty. And there was really no limit to how deadly the trap could have been because they were planning that shit well in advance. And they could have had however many amount of troops. They could have had whatever, like fucking siege equipment, not siege equipment, just any equipment in preparation for them. It ended up being the giant raisin rocks, but we don't really know what it could have been. He just went into that shit blindfolded. He knew it was a trap, but he knew like whatever amount of fucking forces or arrows or raisins rocks they had, he knew it could have been as deadly as possible. He just thought, I'm Mobu, so I'm gonna overcome it.
I mean, they both have the same mentality. Mobile, I'm Akko. Whatever you throw at me, I'll be able to fight against it. I'm
Yeah,
saying
but
it's the. I'm
Eiko
saying
Eiko knew
they
the Eiko knew the limits of what Riboku could throw at him, other than just bringing Shibasha with him.
I was about to say he didn't. That's why he got. That's why he got fucked up. Because if he knew the limit, bro, think about it. Think about what you're saying. So knew who Reboku had over there, and still went into that 3v1 thinking he would win. Didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, this is my boy. I fucks with him, but he puts himself in precarious situations due to his Iron Man mentality. This is I'm that dude. Akko go bird. But again, if we talking about mentalities as a general, I don't need my Iron Man general having to go, you know what I'm saying, having to do that every time. I don't want
Having
him
to
to
go
do
Iron Manning, that's what he does. He's Iron
I
Man.
don't like again, I don't need my Iron Man general like trying to spring traps and beat them just because he you know what I'm saying, he thinks he can.
I don't know, cause if he was able to, I think he had a
Right.
much higher chance of achieving that than Mobu taking out Hoken. I think Mobu's Hoken attempt was more of a shot in the dark. While Eiko, he knew the general gist of what they had available to them to attack him with. And even then, if he saw it was something more than he expected, he could have just retreated. He decided to stay because he knew he would be able
Of
to
his
withhold them.
mentality.
Yeah, because of his mentality, because he's like that.
But I'm saying having a like that mentality can get you killed. You know what I'm saying? Like having a like that mentality is not always a good thing, especially when you're a general and you dying has either one or two effects. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the story, it has one or two effects. You either die and your niggas go out in a blaze of glory with you, or you die and these niggas surrender. So it's like, and Akko niggas is definitely going out in a blaze of glory type niggas, but still,
Yeah, but I
it's just
think I think not every like that mentality is created equally in terms of how calculated that shit is. Like, I know Conky, him walking into the trap, that was a generational moment, generational fucking failure. But that's definitely more calculated than Riboku. I mean, than Mobile walking into the trap. That's for sure.
yeah, but it's the no no definitely, but it's the same. Like it's still the same mentality.
Not really,
And again, that's why
because one
it
depends
is.
on having a more educated guess on what the outcomes are versus Mobile. He didn't know. He was
Mm,
more of a shot in the dark, and
mm.
he's like, I just don't give a fuck.
No, it's not about no, because at this point, intelligence has nothing to do with it. It solely comes down to the general in question has the mentality, I am better than whatever they have planned. That's literally what all three of them have in common. Kanki, Osen, Mobile. I mean, Kanki, Akko, Mobile. Like they literally have the idea that, yo, all right, whoever it is in front of me is gonna try something, is gonna spring some silly little trap. It doesn't matter because either I'm mobile and my strength defies all strategy, or I'm Akko and I'm just so resilient and strong that whatever trap they lay out for me, I'm gonna be able to withhold. Or I'm cocky and I'm just so smart that whatever trap they think they set, I'm gonna spring it and then flip it on them. You know what I'm saying? But they all have the mentality that I'm
It's
better
not though. It's
than
not
the
that
fucking
simple.
trap.
You can't separate mentality from intelligence and how much you're willing to rely on your intelligence. Even Bayo Mobile, when Hoken attacked the camp at night, he didn't think I'm mobile. I'm gonna fucking attack because I don't give a fuck. He thought, oh, it's pretty risky. I don't know where their troops are. It might be a bait. And the rewards aren't worth the risk. Fuck that. Everyone to a certain extent depends on their
I
intelligence
ain't gonna lie.
and makes a case for if they should do it or not. I'm just saying Ako and Conky's are more calculated than Mobu's was in that exact moment. Like
Eh,
I don't think fucking Ako would have taken that trap. I don't think Conky would have taken that trap.
definitely.
You think Conky and
What?
Ako would have went between the cliffs?
Echo, yes. Echo,
Nah,
yes.
nah.
Echo, yes. My bruh. There's nothing in the manga that says Echo wouldn't have thought that he would have beat the shit. Like if Echo sees the Supreme Commander in front of him within striking distance, he's going. Yes. Conky, maybe not because Conky might have enough like fucking like Conky's not a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like he's good in a fight, but he's not a brute. He's not a Marshall Mike type nigga. So him going after Hoken, I'm not sure. But Akko, yes,
Nah, him
yes.
going after Riboku once is not proof that anytime he sees a worthy kill, he's just gonna run at it without thinking. Even
No,
against
but
Bananji in
you
day
ready?
two, when he
You ready?
saw
I'm gonna
Bananji
say
there, he didn't like rush towards him. He was using strategy.
I'm not saying he wouldn't have used strategy. That's what I'm saying. Like Conky had a strategy when going at Raboku with, but he still went into the trap thinking that my strategy or my martial might, my skill is better than the trap. That again, that's the mentality. That again, I'm not saying that these niggas is going into the trap all blind and all just lackadaisical with them. No, no, no. They're going into it with some type of way of countering it, but again, they're going into it thinking that they're definitely going to counter it or they're definitely going to beat it because they are who they are.
Yeah, but Ako didn't do that against
Especially
Bananji in day two. He didn't rush at him and think, whatever he does, I'm going to overcome it, then I'm going to kill Bananji. He just used strategy and laid back that day, pretty much.
but I'm saying, okay, but that's one example against three, though, bro. Because he did it against Gakurai, he did it against Banaji on the first day, and he did it against Raboku.
Well, against Gakue and Bananji, that was both the correct choice. Because he was
I'm not
1v3 at
saying
the end of the
this
day with
again.
Ohan laying back. So at some point, he's got to
Again,
take some risk and get flanked somehow. It's not like he wasn't expecting that. And that's why Ohan was in reserve in the first place.
not really, because he got picked. Because if Uho was in the reserves to protect him from getting flanked, he wouldn't have bitched at the nigga for like literally when Uho and them made that move. They said, "Yo, Appo's gonna get tight because we weren't supposed to do this."
Yeah,
So
because
it
it was a
wasn't
bit
set
too
up,
soon, but that's also because Shigari
nigga.
hadn't attacked yet. That was the whole point. He's not going to face them 1v3 and not have Ohan help him. That was the whole point of the strategy. At some point, he might get overwhelmed. This the way the formations were set up, he wasn't put in an advantageous situation on purpose.
like I said, bro, it wasn't until after Uhon saved him of his own volition that he even considered Uhon as a part of the military plans. That's why Uhon was so tight. It's like, why am I being relegated to fucking reserve duty? You know what I'm saying? It's literally 25 versus 30,000, and you got me relegated to reserve duty. So at that point in the beginning of the battle, yes, Apple was of the mind that I'm gonna fight whoever comes at me. I'm gonna fight all three armies if
Nah,
they come at me.
he was even because there's more to that. There's the whole if he wanted him to think that because what that would do for his mentality in regards to proving himself for Osen. He even told him like, "Oh, we're gonna need to use every single fiber of our being to overcome this, and this is not because you're trash or anything. This is just the strategy that me and Osen have come up with."
Right, but that's the thing, bro. The okay, put it like this, right? What was the original strategy,
We don't
right?
know.
Barring nigga, the formation had it set up for Akko to fight by himself up front. That's why Uhon was in the
Yeah, but we
reserve.
don't know what
So
decision he would make based on what Zhao did. We saw one scenario.
we saw two. This is what I'm saying. Like, okay, the first day he charged, right? I'm a destroy Gakurai. He has every right to believe. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying his mentality is wrong all the time. I'm just saying there's certain flaws in the mentality, right? So he believes I'm a wreck Gakurai. Fine. You go at this nigga. Gakurai brings 10,000, you bring 10,000, right? That mentality of being equal is a flaw in and of itself. Because if you have more numbers, why not just wipe him off the map? But you got to worry about the other three because in your mind, you're fighting all three. Like again, and at this time, he's not expecting Uhon to do anything of significance in the first day of the fight. So I'm fighting Gakurai head up. Then Banaji does his thing. I leave one of my fucking lieutenants to go handle Gakurai. I go after Banaji. Unbeknownst to me, Uhon's doing the same thing, right? Helping me out. Then Gakurai gets his second win. Ko was lucky that on the first day, Chogaryu didn't do anything, right?
I mean,
But
I'm
then on
pretty
the
sure if
second day,
Shogaryu did something, then he would have made the call for Ohan to help.
like, Uhon was already in the fight. Uhon was already helping with Banaji.
Well, I'm saying, if Ohan is helping, then if Shogaryu attacks, then they're not really accomplishing that much on the first day. That's why Ousen had the formations like that. It's not like Ousen made terrible plans. Because him and Ohan came up,
What?
I mean, him and Ako came up with the same plan.
Right, but we're saying that they both have flaws in their mentality, and I'm saying this is a highlight of it. The flaw in the mentality that Akko can handle everything on his own.
Well, I don't think Ousen has that same mentality when it comes to how to use Ako. That's why he told Ako, well, he telepathically told Ako not to charge at Riboku. Hold on, read the
Telepath.
comments real quick. I need to do something.
I bet. Still same comments. What up, people? Bad for my ass off. All right, so of the three people we've discussed, Osen, Mobu, and Akko, who do y'all think has the best mentality as a general on the battlefield and off?
All right, Gucci, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. So Thism's bitch
It's
ass
been
in the
this.
chat. Man, I was just talking to him about Discord about how much of a cocky fanboy he was. It's crazy how he just pretends like that never happened. Like that's fucking wild that he would just try to erase all that history like that. He's the biggest fucking cocky wanker I've ever seen, man. That shit's crazy. Yo, Yaloshi in the chat, what's up, Wizzy? It's been a while, my guy. It's been a while. What's up with you? We went on a fucking tangent there. But yeah, okay, I'll make a compromise. I'll put him in the second highest tier. But if that's happening, then I'm putting Osen in the third tier. That's what we doing.
I'm saying they both belong in the same tier.
Maybe. Fuck.
They both have a flaw. They both have a single flaw in their mentality that has a fatal crux. The only difference is Olsen didn't die from it.
I don't know
Chilling,
what the
chilling,
fuck just
chilling.
happened. My tier list just fucking blew up.
Because you was trying to rank. That's because you were trying to rank Olsen too low. Your computer said, "Fuck out of here."
Just like the shit with Kocho, huh?
Yeah, it said, "Fuck out of here."
It always happens when I'm on Twitch. It's crazy. What are they saying in the chat? He said, "What's up, man? How you doing? Doing good. Been streaming more recently. Doing this tier list, as you can see. What are your thoughts so far? Where do y'all think we should put Osen, Ako, and Ohan? Who's spinning? Who ain't?"
I ain't gonna lie. I mean, Uhon's here and there. In terms of his mentality. Like,
My first impression would be he's probably the closest to perfect mentality we have.
really?
I didn't get everyone that I could have, but out of the people that I had there on the list, he probably is.
I give me arguments for why he has the best mentality in Kingdom.
Hold on, I gotta reorganize this shit because my tier list just blew the fuck up.
Olsen's mentally Olsen's mentality is the cat. Come on, bro. Oh, when did the Osen hate begin? I guess Hongo, huh?
I mean, it had to have been Hongo. when else? But they've been waiting. They've been waiting in the corners, but
I see. I see. I don't want to see nobody switching up when my man's come back. I don't want to see nobody switching up. In Osen, we trust.
you said this bitch left Mogu to die. Yeah, that was the correct choice.
I was about to say that was that mentality won them the war.
Yeah, but and this is funny because me and Wizzy have probably like 6 years ago at this point, I've argued about this to the death about if they would have won that war. So Wizzy's just gonna say, nah, it's because of Conky and because of Shin and they got lucky and stuff like that.
I mean, it's those are also two big components, but Osen literally, I mean, Renpa literally said, like, we lost this war because we can't reorganize. Even if we killed Mogu, we wouldn't have time to reorganize.
Yeah, but he would argue something
Like,
like Osen didn't know exactly what was gonna happen and he ended up getting lucky with Shin and Conky and all that stuff. And even Mogu
I
being able to hold
mean,
out as long as he did.
I mean,
Let me look for these characters. I don't know why the fuck
Go
my
would have
tier list
just,
just blew up like that.
I mean, Osen would have just taken over from there.
Yeah, well, that's
Is
the
it un-
that's the debate,
is-
isn't it? If he would have beat Renpa in that situation, which, given how strong we saw his army was, I think that's even more credence that he would. But that's a classic debate in Kingdom. That used to be the
There's a
original
hundred.
Osen downplay, where they're like, Osen is for sure not above Renpa. Renpa is 100% better than Osen. That was the
Nah,
original.
hiding wasn't the only way to win, but it was the most effective way to win. I keep one of his top generals secluded from the battle. Two of them have already been killed, right? And the only one that's left is a meathead nigga that couldn't fuck with Conky on his worst day. So in that sense, yes, having Conky floating in the wind would be a detriment because Renpa would have to focus all of his attention on Osen, while Conky was free to do whatever, right? Right. Then you have to contend with the fact that Taichibo, what, would strategically have to deal with Osen, which is not likely. Shit, I don't even know if Kaishibo would have gotten past fucking City, let alone Ako. So it's like, nah, we don't won that battle sparingly.
He was outnumbered at that point, was he not? He had like I think 22k around there. Renpa would have definitely had more, assuming Shin didn't kill Renko and the center stomped like Renpa thought he would.
No, I'm saying from the time that Renpa and them had took Mogul's HQ. Like Shin still killed Renko, but Renpa kills Mogul, Moten, Shin. He kills everybody on that hill, right?
Yeah, but that's the argument people make that they're like, oh, Osen got lucky and he didn't expect Shin would have killed Renko. He just ended up getting lucky that happened. And then they're like, if the center did win, then Osen had no chance to win. So his strategy wasn't the correct decision. It just ended up being that way. Which I think even if the center won, Osen probably would have still won. That's my opinion. Just because of the strength of his army, and even though he would have been outnumbered at that point, the numbers weren't so great that he couldn't have overcame it.
Especially with Conky in the win. Even
And
if the center did lose, we still have a Conky in the win that just murked the fucking Wade commander.
yeah, but
And
his
we've
forces
seen that,
were also pretty devastated because he took that risk to allow Kaishibo to devastate his HQ, so he can kill Genpo.
yeah, but that's even more of a risk for Renpa. Because now he has a smaller force that he has to worry about. It's harder to find. You know what I'm saying? And remember, these are Zhao generals trying to lead Wei army. Nigga, their morale would have plummeted. They would have lost that war. Even with Renpa, they would have lost that war.
I don't know because he still has the advantage at least numbers wise in direct confrontations. Yes, Conky buzzing around is definitely a problem, but arguably it's better to have Conky with a sizable force to help you in the direct confrontation because he would have been pretty outnumbered at that point. But I think it's a flawed premise to begin with because that war he's at a disadvantage to begin with because of Mogul. It's better if Mogul isn't even there and he doesn't have just a center that's gonna lose because he has no one against Wrinkle. Like that's not really fair to determine that Rempa's better because he has a way better center. Ousen was handicapped in that war to begin with.
And like I said, in Osen we trust. I don't want to see nobody switching up when my man's put in work.
I can't wait for that. I know I
But
know both of us are rubbing our hands waiting for that shit, right?
yeah, man. What does he say? Can Kaishibo even gallop downhill without any accidents from Mogul's mountain uphill?
I guess it depends what you mean by accidents. I don't know what type of accidents you're expecting.
I'm thinking he's talking about the traps that Mogul had set, where it's like part like the dead ends and the blocked paths going up the mountain. I don't I'm
I
thinking
mean,
that's what he's talking
I'm
about.
pretty sure Mogu's traps weren't so advanced that they applied both going up and down. That'd be pretty crazy if they were.
I mean, this is a pretty good fort. I think Renpa probably the only person that would have been able to get through that we've seen so far. Maybe Dukio.
Yeah, though I think the way it was highlighted, Dukyo probably doesn't have the intelligence because it seemed like you definitely needed both.
See, the way I looked at it, because they was trying to highlight Renpa's like hybridness. It was
Yeah,
like this was like his instinctual, like this was
he
like
has
the
the hardness
instinctual
and he
part
has the
taking over.
softness. He's both aggressive and he's passive.
Like a stupid. But nah, I'm just saying because like it was like, yeah, when he's at HQ, he comes up with strategies like a master tactician. But when he's on the field, he reads the field like a, you know what I'm saying, like an instinctual. So it's like, I ain't gonna lie, I thought like when reading that, it was like, nah, these are instincts that's helping him get through, not necessarily like intelligence.
Okay, so finally got the tier list back.
All right, here
We
you
got
go.
some more characters to rank. Uh, First of all, let's just rank some random characters that we can go through quickly. So where do you want to rank a Kakin?
Mentality, fucking S tier, bro.
Stop it.
That
See,
nigga,
this is a
bro,
trap. I placed my
he,
trap card and you fell right for it.
bro, like, come on now. Akaka never makes the wrong move.
Yeah, but he's always been lazy. He's never lived up to his full potential. You can't have an S
Nah,
tier
that's not
mentality.
true. Nah, that's not true.
We're gonna
That's
blame
not
it all
true
on
at all.
Ako. We're gonna say, oh, Ako just didn't
No,
give him the right positions.
no, I'm not saying it wasn't laziness though. It was his personality. It's just his quirkiness.
Well,
Osen and
the
them wasn't
laziness,
what we,
don't give a fuckness, whatever you want to describe it as.
yeah, but I'm saying when he's been with Uon, nigga went from a 3,000 man to a general in like 3 years. He's not lazy.
Yeah, but
He's never
even
made
when he
the
was under Ako, when it was time for necessity, he still stepped up. So it's not like it's that
that's what
different
I'm
under
saying.
Ohan. Like when he was against Buddha guy, he needed to step up, so he stepped up. But he still has, arguably, he still has that character flaw where he doesn't really give a fuck. He doesn't apply himself at all times.
I don't see that. I don't
Well,
see
we
that at
haven't
all.
seen much of him,
I see,
so
you know,
we don't have to see it. It's been stated.
nah. It's been stated that he's the most problematic and his personality is a problem.
Yeah,
But it's
what is
also
that
been
problem?
stated,
Does he play pranks on people when they're camping
yes,
out overnight?
it's the fact that this nigga's always get like think about the Ousen army, the Ako army specifically, a bunch of hard asses, a bunch of niggas that are just run they fucking brother and father over for whatever reason. And then you got this nigga Akakin just laughing all the time. No matter what he does, again, he never makes the wrong move. Niggas have stated, like, yo, you might be a 1,000 man commander, but when you're here, I feel better because you're that dude. I fucks with you. Like I said, he got with Uhon, and the nigga became a 3,000 man commander, started fucking shit up of his own accord. Niggas is like, yo, he's not following orders. That doesn't matter. Let him do him. He's good. Like, let him do him. He's good. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, 3 years, he's a general. Let him cook. Like, don't do this. Don't let a niggas. See, this is the thing, right? When it comes to niggas like Toe, he doesn't have enough personality. He doesn't do enough. But then when it comes to niggas like a Kakin, he does the most and he's too much. It's like, no. A Kakin is S tier. The nigga has yet to make a mistake. He has no critical flaws. The only problem is that he's not like physically stronger. That is his only fucking problem. And it has
Well,
nothing to
the
do with
yet
his
to make a
mentality.
mistake thing, that is more so up to his talent than anything. He's just that good in these situations to where he can get through them no
Hey,
problem. But I wouldn't really say
hey,
that's a mentality thing. I do think you brought up a good point where it's like his don't give a fuckness. It kind of works in his favor in some regards to where he doesn't feel the need to ask for permission to do everything. He'll just do it on his own, and it ends up working out better that way. I think that is a good point, but I don't think you can say his problems that he presents to the army, it's because he's laughing at people or whatever whatever the fuck. I'm not saying that's like
but
you're
saying
saying
it
that
was
exactly, like literally, but
yeah, but it
anything
was
along
never
those
specifically
lines.
highlighted. It was literally just his personality. It was nothing else was highlighted. And what is his personality? He's a fucking giddy nigga. He's
Yeah,
a
but him being giddy and laughing at people is not problematic
yes.
necessarily.
I can understand. No, but I'm saying in the Ocean Army, like just think about that for a second. Ocean tolerates Aqua. I mean, you think he's gonna tolerate two of them? Like Soo is a bit much because then Remy always has to keep him in check. Now imagine if Kakin was like an actual general, like you know
See,
what I'm saying? Like he was
this
like
is crazy,
fifth.
bro. The general consensus is that he has a problematic personality, and you're like, listen, man, listen. Everyone else is the problem, not a cockin, okay? It's literally the
Facts.
entire army. They're the
It's
problem.
literally it's literally the rest of you. If I had nigga, if I had 10,000 Akakins, I'm taking over whatever fucking country I want. Understand that. If I have 10,000 Akakins, we nigga who stop? I got 10,000 niggas that are just yo, let's go.
Yo, you
Yo,
know
let's
how
go. Oh, I see.
terrifying that'd
Oh,
be though if there's an army of 10,000 Makakans having their giddy ass laugh as they're charging towards you like some Joker shit. Like
bruh.
I might piss
And
myself.
and and each of them are strategically aware enough to be like, oh, what's that over? All right, let me go handle that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, all right, he's doing that. Let me go do this over here. Oh, he's all right. Let me chill for a second because I ain't got to do shit like this. That's not copying, my nigga. Again, the man has no like he's made zero mistakes. The man has been in some of the most precarious situations from fighting Banaji and having to hold him off, from saving Akko, from the EQ shit with having to get around the mountains and figuring out ways to get horses through canyons and shit. Like the nigga is fucking there, bro. He's there. Like S tier. I don't give a fuck.
I mean,
Fight me.
he's just very talented. That's what it comes down to. I do think that his mentality improved when he went under Ohan, but we're not going to stay on this. I'm gonna put him a tier under Ousen. I would put him 2 tiers, but I think his mentality improved when he went under Ohan. But we can leave it at that. Jon Snow said
I
y'all should
thought
upload this to YouTube. Yeah, I am. I do have some videos still that I have up that I need to upload. I will do that eventually. We have one where we are talking about how invested we were in each arc. All the recent arcs ever since Gyo. That was a good one. We have a strength tier list. That was a good one. I need to upload those. We have the praising Kocho video, the mother of all videos. Definitely need to upload that. Need to have Tone's reaction to that. You know.
that's hilarious.
But yeah,
10,000 Akakins is equal to one mobile.
I'm not sure if the math is
Oh,
math in there, but
that's funny.
what do you think about Baggio? I'm gonna see if you're gonna put every character you like in S tier. So you have Osen in S tier so far. You have a Kaken in S tier so far, and will you put Baggio in S tier as well?
Hmm. I say A, and it's not because you're trying to troll me, but I say A because his love for your Yotanwa can cause him to make mistakes
I think that seems pretty
and
plausible, but
be, you know what I'm saying? And like,
we've never seen it in execution because he never tried to do something that's the most when it wasn't necessary.
true, but there's no telling what that nigga would do for her. So I'm gonna just say, like, again,
If
overall
anything,
mentality.
I think there's actual manga evidence to be contrary to your point because if he was the type of like I need to do the most at all times type of guy, they were starving at during the battle against Rozo, and those entire like 15 days leading up to the climax, he never went all out against Goba. He was kind of like relatively reserved and waited until it was the right day. You know, he didn't lead a suicide charge because he's like, we might run out of supplies. I need to make sure we don't run out of supplies because I need to protect Otanwa.
I'm saying he's not an idiot. Like, think about, like, no matter how much food, like, no matter how little they food gets, they're gonna make sure she eats. So in that sense, it's like, yeah, I don't have to necessarily go ape shit right now, but like in terms of a battlefield, my nigga jumped a canyon to save her.
I mean, what was he supposed to do? Just stay on the other side of the canyon and die? You had to jump it.
And I'm, you know, I don't disagree. I'm just saying, like, he does, like I said, the same thing with Akko. The nigga, the recklessness is crazy. Like, my nigga jumped a canyon, had splinters and fucking trees coming, like, had fucking branches coming out of him and still fought. Like, at a certain point, yeah, son, you gotta run, but I don't know. Them niggas still got tracked, so it's like, yeah, it really didn't matter. But yeah, like I say A plus, because
Yeah, I
like
mean, I'm honestly
I could
considering S
just
myself because I don't know if there's any flaws to his mentality necessarily. It's just more so his lack of intelligence, lack of talent. But even then, he's someone who's
mm,
not like
I
naturally
wouldn't say
incredibly smart, but at the same time, he makes sure to apply himself strategically. He's not like a Shin who's just like, well, I'm not that talented. Fuck strategy. I don't really care. He's someone that tries to be strategical to the best extent he can be. So
I mean, he was
for
able
the
to
gifts
sell
he
me with
has,
that's
for the
the
gifts he
thing.
has,
So
I mean, I don't really know if there's any flaw to his mentality. He's just a flawed commander, more so than a flawed mentality.
I
And
mean, I have the
you
exact
know when the
opposite.
situation calls for it, he will do the absolute most if necessary.
Right, right.
So
But I'm just saying,
I think I
like,
might have
I
to put him
just
at S tier.
hey, hey, that's up to you. You got,
Yeah.
I mean, you got a cock in that. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Let's just give these gradings. All right.
That's crazy.
Hey man. It's more than just laughing at people.
No, but like What's the flaw, my nigga? That has him so low. You have him fucking B plus. What's the flaw?
I mean, B plus is pretty high. It's pretty high.
Nigga, that's mid tier, literally.
Nah, mid tier is C. There's just not that many dudes that have incredibly trash mentalities. But the flaw is that he was only 1,000 man commander. You know, he should have been a general at that point if he really lived up to his potential under Ousen. We don't
He's
know
a general
exactly.
now.
Yeah, but that's because it was kind of necessary to have more generals at that point. With how like skyrocketing, they're rising up the ranks, and you know
Yeah, but
the
if that was
future
the
potential
case,
they have.
yeah, but if that was the case, then they would have made N or fucking not solo N or Sosui generals, but they only made them 5,000 man commanders,
Yeah, they
and
don't
they
have a
had a higher
talent. They're
rank.
bums. They're
I'm
booms.
just saying,
Yeah.
but they had a higher rank than a Kaken. I'm telling you, a Kaken is that dude. But we can get to the next person. We don't gotta keep going.
All right. Let's talk about Conky. Conky's a funny one because for years, people were saying, "Man, Mobu's move in bio was so fucking autistic. Like this is a Hall of Fame all timer in terms of bad fucking plays and stupid brain thinking." He's like, "No one will equal this," and Conky's like, "Bet, I'm up to the challenge. I'm up against Riboku, and you know we're deep into his territory. Who knows the amount of troops they have? Who knows any of this shit? But I'm gonna conky this shit. I'm gonna fucking conky it." And
Oh man.
like I said, it's calculated to a certain extent. We obviously don't know the ins and outs of that, but obviously Conky did it for a reason. He thought he could escape it for a reason, and he was almost right. So there is that, but at the end of the day, he went up against someone who's probably better than him, and he still decided whatever the situation is, whatever kind of trap they have for us, whatever their numbers are, I'll just figure it out when I get there, you know? The reason I won't put him all the way at the bottom is because that type of mentality also adheres to his strengths. So it makes him fully capitalize on how dangerous he is and the advantages he has. So it does have positives, it's not just negatives, but that was a pretty insane moment. It's hard to really look past that moment. And he doesn't have the intelligence excuse like Mobu does.
See, I ain't gonna lie. I thought you'd be mad, but I would put Conky
Out of what?
just because at an A. Just
A.
because, yeah, like you said, he's reckless. But in terms of the story, his recklessness has always played into his favor. Has always worked in his favor, except for the Raboku shit. And that was actually that was just, especially after being warned by Osen. Yeah, that was just really bad. But
I mean, if I
you
recall
got like
correctly,
S A
you did
plus
criticize him
A.
during the coach arc, right?
Yeah, that was terrible too.
So yeah, I mean, you probably put him
So
to at least
nah,
a B plus
nah.
then.
I was about to say, yeah, you right, B plus. I'm looking at how, yeah.
Because I was trying to look into the recesses of my mind, being like, man,
Trying
let me think about all those
to think
arguments we
about
had in the
everything.
coach
I'm
arc.
about to say, I'm trying to think about it all now too. Like,
Yeah,
okay, Conky arc, the Raboku arc was just that was just bad. Even though he salvaged it somewhat, it was more Raboku being stupid than Conky just being overly smart or like really having a solid like plan to get out of it.
don't get me wrong. I think his plan at
Uh,
the end was great, but the fact that he even got to that point was more so the flaws on Riboku rather than him having a foolproof plan or anything.
right.
And it was
Um,
also up to Shin having that crazy Duke level instinct moment, which you can expect Shin to
and
go in, but can't. I'm not necessarily going to give him the excuse that he expected that.
not only that, but it was Shin and Moten and them taking the city afterwards, giving him like a bit of reprieve, and then to Zao niggas having to refocus. Although I ain't gonna cap you. Yeah, those two arcs really were bad. I ain't gonna cap. And the other arcs, it's like plot just played into his favor.
To a certain
Like I said,
extent, yeah.
everybody just
Like I don't
Everybody's
judge
just sort of
mentality just by
stupid.
if you ended up winning or not, because I don't think that's the best way of doing it.
Not even if you win or not, but just like for me at least, it's like, does it make sense? You know what I'm saying? And some of the things Conky did just didn't make sense until after it was played. You know what I'm saying? After it played out, and it was like, all right, cool. But that's A plus A. Yeah, I get B plus.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think to a certain extent you have to acknowledge that it is part of what makes him very dangerous. Probably put him ahead of a cocky and a fa, but it is part of what makes him very dangerous. So, he being conky, he might as well lean into his strengths with the flaws that come with it and everything. So to a certain extent, you can say he knows himself and he knows how to make full use of his abilities, but at the same time, he definitely goes overboard in moments. Some of the shit seems like it's just unnecessary, like the Kocho arc. I don't know if he needed to do all that. Even against Genpo, I don't know if he needed to lose most of his troops to Kaishibo when he's more than equipped to take on Kaishibo and Genpo. He didn't have to like lose most of his troops like that. I mean, Kanki's a very formidable force. The fact that you're willing to sacrifice so many of your troops like that on the fly, I get Genpo's a good person to kill, but I don't know if the risk reward is necessarily all that great considering they have to deal with Renpa after that. So I'll put him at a B plus. I think it's definitely flawed, but that's also part of what makes him so unpredictable. So hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, who's next?
We can talk about Ohan. I think Ohan he's the most balanced in a sense where he's not overly arrogant on his strength. He's willing to rely on his strategy, but he also believes in himself. He also has that chip on his shoulder to where he's willing to go above and beyond and surpasses his limitations if necessary. Um, he's willing to take risks, but he's not like suicidal or anything. He's definitely no Mobu, no Bayo Mobu. So I think there's good barriers that he mentally has there. I just think he's solid everywhere. Like there's no real flaw of his other than maybe he doesn't have quite the eye of the tiger that Shin does when it comes to being just that much of a savage and wanting it that much and just really willing to do whatever it takes. Because Shin, I would
Or
say
how,
what?
I was about to say his outlook on others, like that's a big mental flaw for a general.
Yeah, he kind of underestimates his companions and he probably thinks he has to do more than he has to because he thinks he has to carry it. But at the same time, if he's in a
Companions, enemies, everybody.
no, he pretty accurately judges his enemies.
Come on now.
When did he not?
Bro, this nigga said he was gonna kill Banaji in 3 swings or some shit like that. Like he
You
was
mean
gonna poke a hole in,
Yo?
but one of the two. I can't remember which one, but he talked hella shit to one of them. It was like, I'm gonna kill, I'm gonna poke a hole in your brow or some shit. Now I think it was Banaji on the first day that they fought. When Banaji was talking shit about Issei.
Yeah, I don't know if he said 3 swings, but he definitely said I'm gonna take Joan out in two. But there was also a situation of necessity there. He had to do something. It's not like he had much
And
of
it's
a
just like
choice.
his overall look on like it's changed in recent years because of Shen and them, but like his overall look on peasants can be seen as like a flaw, especially when the bulk of your army is going to be mostly peasants or like mostly like lower. Like it's not like your whole army is not going to be made up of nobles. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that could be a flaw.
Yeah, maybe underestimating their strength, but he still acknowledges that they're important and they have their place. He's just like everyone has their place type of thing. But I think you have to be a bit reserved in how you judge warrior mentality because every warrior is gonna think the most of himself. There's no warrior that's like I'm the most perfectly balanced warrior in terms of mentality. I'm only gonna take battles that I think for a fact that I'm perfectly enough to take care of this. They're probably gonna overestimate themselves to some degree. I don't know
It's
any
crazy
warrior
because
that doesn't.
you have Suhon at an S, and it's crazy because I have both. Personally, I would have him and Moten both at A plus A for different reasons. Like I feel like how do I put it? Uhon in a sense takes himself too seriously, whereas Moten doesn't take himself seriously enough.
See, I kind of agree with you there because if you're a general, man, if you're one of the most dangerous people in the Warring States era, you need your harem, man. You need a in between wars. You need to fuck your bitches. You need to rejuvenate. So, Moten, he has the right mindset there.
I mean, yeah, that is true. But like we've seen Moten like in the battlefield, like he, you know what I'm saying, he takes shit seriously. It's not like he's just out here being stupid. But at the same time, it's like he doesn't take the shit so seriously that he's always so tensed up. Like this nigga Uon could be on death's door and still be talking shit. It is like
Yeah, but
nigga.
that's more like personality flaws rather than something that's tangible in the battlefield necessarily. Most of these.
I mean, my nigga, you have a cocking at a B plus because of personality flaws. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, because it led him to being a bum ass 1K commander for like 10, 15 years, however long is it the Osen army.
We don't even know how old the cocking is. Like, he don't even look that old.
Bro,
Like,
he was talking about his sons to Ohan. He was like, give my money to my
listen,
sons.
listen. In this era, niggas is popping out kids at 15. So,
Yeah, Cockin's crazy ass wasn't. I know that.
like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So you never know how many. You know what I'm saying? How old he is. But I'm just saying, like, getting them around what 35 now. If I had to do the math, like they should be in their like late 20s, early third, like mid 30s around.
Shin being
So a cocking is
35 would
not.
be crazy. I do not think of him as 35.
Like I said, I got to do the math again. But like I said, they're in their late 20s at the very least. So and a Cockin don't look to be that much older than Uhon and them. So it's like, yeah, nigga, I'm a commoner. I don't have to be as selective as who I marry, nigga. I'm just out here popping kids out.
I mean, how old does Riboku look? This motherfucker's probably like 50 at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Boku looks about 30, 40. But I ain't gonna lie, that's just because like the Boku got the baby face. He got no facial hair, nothing.
Yeah, he does have the small goatee. The very, very
Yeah.
small one.
Whereas Osen looked like he about 45, 50. And that's with a mask on. That nigga still look old. So it's like,
He's like that old 45, 50-year-old where you're like, damn, this guy has it set. This dude's a baller.
listen,
You got that big unk energy. But okay,
okay.
let's go over some others pretty quickly because we've been going on for a while. Mobile, I guess we could differentiate between Bayo Mobile and current Mobile. I think
I
that's
would
only
say
fair.
mobile before and after the coalition, yeah.
Okay, so would you put Bayo Mobile at C or D? That's the question.
B.
You said C?
Too arrogant. D.
Oh, B? Oh,
The
D,
lowest
D.
one, nigga.
All right. Okay.
Way
Uh,
too arrogant. He had that good feed against fucking the dude of the defense. I can't remember his name. That one Zal dude, but nah, it was just he was just too inexperienced, didn't know enough, way too arrogant. Like that. Oh man, that nigga, that shit cost them the war for real, for real.
yeah, though to a certain extent, even he's calculated. He knows how strong he really is and what he can get away with. I do definitely think he was too arrogant. Definitely one of the most arrogant characters, though. Even that's kind of questionable because he's not like Gakue arrogant, who thinks he can take on anyone, and he's actually a flea. He is actually one of the strongest in the verse, and one of the best generals at that point. But I definitely think he's either C or D. It's funny how the more I misinterpreted you, the higher my rating went. I'm like S, S plus, S plus plus. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there we go. Rihaku of defense. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I could see
Like,
D, especially if
thank you, man.
Akakin and Kanki's a B plus, which their mentality is a lot better than his at that point. Though, how much better is Kanki's running into the trap than Mobu's? That's kind of a funny discussion.
Oh, it's worse.
You said it's
Granted
worse.
that, yeah, that Reboku situation was a lot worse
So then, what makes Conky not a D then? Because that would make him
because
extremely
Conky
arrogant
has.
too.
Oh no, that was extreme arrogance, but Conky at least had perks where it's like it paid off for him. Whereas like that's all we saw of mobile up until that point. So it's like again, if we take it mobile in its totality, then it's different. But if we splitting them up, then like Bayou Mobile was out here, nigga, resurrect the Quinn Six system right now. I'm name me what's like, nigga. Wait, relax, hold up, you not there yet, bruh.
Yeah, but you put Bayo Mobile against all the weak competition Conky fought up until that point. Then it would have worked out for him too. It's only because he was up against
Not
Riboku.
not not necessarily. I'm not sure if Mobile would have been able to outsmart Gimpo in the woods.
Well, he wouldn't need to. He would just bulldoze his ass.
But I'm saying, like, I don't know if he'd have been able to do that in the woods. Like, it wasn't like like the terrain for that. I'm saying that's kind of like what hampered Kaishibo too. It's because like it's like straightforward niggas like that didn't have like the pathway to really unleash their strength.
Well,
That's why
Kaishibo and Mobile is like the sky and the earth. It's
yeah, no, I get that, but I feel like in the woods and area, like in the woods and shit, given Gimpo's army was using sound and other tactics like that, like they would have been able to fuck with Mobile a lot more than they did Conky. That's just my opinion, though, especially volume Mobile. But
yeah,
that's
but
just my
also Genpo didn't show he could do what Conky can do at Sanyo. Because Conky's the one that did that to Kaishibo. Genpo didn't really show the same level. Granted, he didn't have a chance to because he was up against Conky, but like I said, I think he would just bulldoze through Genpo, woods or not. Doesn't really matter to me, but
fair.
I do think there is kind of a bias based on what we've seen because again, Conky went up against a lot of not subpar competition, but compared to him, it's subpar. While we saw with Mobu what he did that he was arrogant, but we showed what his arrogance led up to. He destroyed Rihaku. No one could really fuck with him until he fell for the trap, which is also Riboku's trap. But yeah, I think it's kind of like if we only saw Conky, like the only showing of Conky was in the Riboku arc, and then our only impression would
Right.
be this guy is insanely fucking arrogant.
I was about to say but that's what that was kind of my point though. It's like if we was just using that art, then Conky would be a fucking F.
Yeah, but
You know
then
what I'm
what
saying?
do the
Like,
other arcs even show necessarily that like you can argue they show he still has a shit mentality, he's just way better than his opponents.
or not even that, but like, all right, in the battle against Kesha, right? He showed like flexibility in his mentality, in his approach to his attack. Where it was like, all right, I'm gonna try to psychologize. I'm gonna do the upfront battle shit. That didn't work. Shin fucked up. Then what is it? Raido and them fucked up. All right, so let me switch to psychological warfare, and that shit worked to a T. You know what I'm saying? Like that battle wasn't luck. Like that was one of Conky's better battles, and it wasn't like those were strategic mental attacks, mental moves.
Yeah, I
And
would still say though there's definitely some arrogance there to his decision making, where he thought he was so great that he's gonna mentally fuck Keisha, and he can give Keisha the world, but it's just gonna work out in his favor because he's that much better. Like yeah, it worked out in his
I
favor,
mean,
but I don't necessarily
yeah, he
rate that as
did
like pure calculation. It's not arrogance.
a little bit of both, but that was my point earlier when we was talking about Osen. It's like all of these generals have a level of arrogance to them. Like so, if arrogance is the flaw, it's like nigga, nobody's S tier because all of them have arrogance.
Yeah, but it depends on how easy it is to take advantage of that arrogance, is what I would say. For Osen, it's definitely harder to take advantage of his arrogance compared to Conky. That's for sure.
Yeah,
And I
fair
guess
enough.
like depends even what you mean by arrogance, because is it arrogance if it's true type of thing? There's always that debate. Like a lot of Osen's
Well,
arrogance is based on the fact that he is that good. So
I was thinking more like the arrogance that he could recruit Raboku,
yeah,
and then like, yes, it was highly arrogant, but I'm saying it was a calculated risk because he had so many things going in his favor,
okay.
as opposed
So
to Conky, who just who don't be having like Conky don't be having these aces up his sleeve. He be making them shits happen. The coalition is another good one though.
Yeah, there's
Now that I'm
nothing to
thinking
really
about it,
complain about during the coalition. But again, it was
but the
another
mentality,
fairly
like
weak
the
opponent in Seikai. He didn't go up against Rakuan, you know what I'm saying?
no, true. I mean that would have been crazy. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm thinking of like in more terms like the forethought in the sense to all right, I'm gonna burn the first one, but then I'm gonna use the smoke screens and the you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna fake them out with the second one, ride down, take their armor, like them like. I know that's more strategic thinking and tactic, but the mentality that like to even think of that is crazy. And yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was a
just
weak
I just
army,
think
but
like if you have a fucking F tier mentality and your entire resume is going up against guys 4 or 5 tiers below you, you're still gonna look unbeatable. So it's kind of hard to
eh,
like even things out at that point. What's mentality and what's just ability?
fair enough.
Like I'm pretty sure Bayo Mobu before Bayo was undefeated. So
But
you
he
know,
probably faced nobody's right. Like
like just like Conky shit. But yeah, he probably was undefeated. I don't think he fought as good a competition as Conky, but probably faced some decent guys and he looked unbeatable. It looked like, oh, no matter how arrogant he is, it doesn't matter because he's right type of thing. So I don't know. But I'll put Bayo Mobile at D. I'll put Conky at B because running into that trap really was egregious. That shit was crazy. But where do you put current Mobile?
well, considering I have Osen at this. I'd have mobile. I have mobile at A plus S somewhere in that. Yeah, one of y'all.
A plus S. I mean, to a certain extent, he does have limitations intelligence wise, so it's not like he doesn't want to be smart because he has learned tactics under Shoheiken, but obviously he just has his limits. But I still think there's probably some semblance of arrogance in terms of strategy left there. I don't think it's completely gone away. It's just been mostly minimized.
I think I ain't gonna lie. After Oki died, I think like it's less arrogant and more like resolve, like more weight. Like he fully saw what his arrogance got him and what it cost the state, like what it cost like them as a whole. And he's like, all right, I'm more dutiful. You know what I'm saying? So it's like less arrogance and more dutiful. Like I'm still the strongest nigga in China, not because I think it, but because I have to be it type shit.
I don't
And
know.
because I think it.
Seems like mobile and arrogance go hand in hand. It's like Frankie drinking his colas. That's mobile during fucking breakfast, eating his arrogant cereals, drinking his arrogant cola. Like he fuels himself with more arrogance every day.
No, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. If it's sad, but I'm not saying like again. I say all of these great generals and those who is like you know what I'm saying who are trying to be have a level of arrogance to them. It's just is it a like you say how detrimental is it? And I don't think Mobile's arrogance is as detrimental as that. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? Compared to what it was in Bayou, is like non-existent now.
Yeah, though in my
Mobile
list,
don't be
I still don't think he's better than or on the same tier as Osen necessarily. So I'd put him at B plus for my list.
like I'll just say this last thing for Mobile. Imagine Bayou Mobile interacting with niggas after the Juco arc compared to how current Mobile just oh, you know what? I'm out. I'm not even about to, you know what I'm saying? Compared to how he was when niggas was at the ceremony with Raboku and he's nigga like broke tie, I'm leaving. And it's like now it's just
I'm leaving. I want all y'all to know
nah,
that.
nah, you know what I'm saying? But he's like he was like a little kid though. He made a whole scene and it was a big thing. But like
I
at
don't
the
even think it was
Juco
like a little kid type of thing. It's just he's just that angry, literally.
niggas drunk like they bro, it was funny as fuck. Niggas took the drink, chugged it, dropped it down, we're leaving. I was like, all right,
Imagine the
okay.
conversation with Shahaka and he's like, I'm not gonna go to that. Are you fucking kidding me? To the guy that beat my ass? Hell no. And Shoryuken's like, bro, come on, at least drink some alcohol before you leave. And he's like, and Mobu in his head, he's like, all right, bet. I'll drink some alcohol before I leave.
That's exactly what happened. I'll have one drink. I'm out.
The biggest
But
jug you can ever conceive of. His one drink.
yeah. But yeah, so but like mobile now,
Mobu's
you know what
just
I'm
fucking
saying?
metal in anything he does.
He's just chill. Like his like I said, his arrogance is chilled out. He's more resolved, he's more dutiful. And I feel like that has added to like his overall, you know what I'm saying, his overall mentality. So if I had him at a if I had him at a D, I put him at like current mobile. Like I said, I put at an A just because it's that massive a difference.
All right, let's rapid fire. Let's have like 5 minutes left. I think we can put Goke at D, right? Or is it not as? Is it worse than Bayo Mobu's or better?
Goke, I'd say better. Misguided, but better. Because you know what I'm saying? It was just a part of his weight.
I
He
would
just
say
held
I
on
would say
to
it's
it.
worse, to be honest, because even though Bayo Mobu was extremely arrogant, he did have sort of good reasoning to think he could get to Hoken despite the trap. Like he's not running into situations where he pretty much knows he has no chance of winning. Like Goke, he knew pretty much he had no chance of beating Duke, other than maybe my weight just happens to be that high. Like he's basically just praying at that point. Mobu didn't put himself in a situation where it's like he has no chance of winning and he's just gonna just go through with it anyways.
I mean, well, technically, like in the battle, he was like in he had the advantageous position up until Dukio showed up.
Yeah,
And at
but
the
he
same
didn't want to
time,
retreat after that.
right, but I'm saying at the same time, it's like he had planned for his two generals to do their combo attack, which is apparently like a one hit kill to anybody or whatever. So he was banking on that, and then Shin fucked up that. And then it's like after you already start the duel, you know what I'm saying? Like your pride takes over. So like I wouldn't say like being prideful is such a flaw. You know what I'm saying? As a general, like because you know how bad it would have looked if you had 100,000 niggas just run from 10. Like it would have morale. Like either way, morale would have been just dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, it's not
there's
like
no
all of
telling
them are
how
gonna
niggas would have looked
retreat.
at it.
You know, there some of them are gonna defend and just slow the people down.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like we came into this battle winning, fucking them up out of nowhere. We just retreat. Like I get it. It would have been the smart thing to do, but like think you already exchanged blows and already fought the nigga. It's like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I
have
just
we
think.
even seen like how many generals have we actually seen run from a duel like that?
Well, you could have ran
Not
before the
many.
duel, but a lot of these duels, when someone has the chance to run, it's fairly even to some extent. We don't really come across many duels where you have the chance to run and you could win the battle by doing so, and also the duel is the guy's like 10 levels above you. That's pretty egregious.
I mean, fair enough, but I wouldn't say that it's so egregious that he's a D.
I think so. His like whole thought process didn't even make sense. Like he's still in the battle, like fucking momentarily retreating doesn't like. I understand you have that whole, scarred memory with your home city, but temporary retreats, that's just a strategic decision. It's not like you're retreating from the actual battle. And it's not like you're
But I'm
retreating
saying,
into it's not
like,
like you're retreating into Wei to give him chance to attack another city. Like it's like nonsensical to an extent.
but how far would he have gotten? It's not like the Duke would have just sat there. It's like, nigga, if he would have ran, the Duke would have got pissed. Oh, you turned your back to me and like went ape shit. So it's like, how far how far would he have really gotten away if he decided to run?
I mean, we saw when Rakawan got to go, he went. So he could have done the same thing.
Hey, Rockwan had a Yoko Yoko to help.
Yeah, but the numbers were much more even at the same time. So,
Yeah. All right,
Rakawan
next person.
Rakawan would have been a good person to add to the list. But We could do that actually. Let me find this bitch ass. Let's go.
All right, Rakuan.
Rakuan. Huh. Let me think about this.
You
Definitely
about to
putting
be
him
real
above a
crazy.
Kakin, that's for sure.
That's cap. Nigga
Hmm.
had one. Nigga had one showing, and and his arrogance caused him to lose both.
Yeah, but the third time's a charm though. But I think I would put him at B plus. Honestly, above Mobu. Um, I think his main flaw isn't even that he found the Toe's rhythm of the battle and he had a more destructive battle on the first day than he wanted to, because he had a good reason to think he should have done that and should have adapted on the spot. We even saw like the opposite decision making kind of bit him in the ass as well, where on the second day he tried to make up for that, and it's like, all right, this time I'm not gonna fucking rush the battle, and that also bit him in the ass. So it's kind of contextual, but I think the main thing is him getting too worked up and too sentimental about the experiences he never had and wanting to make up for that, and like, romanticizing his rivalry with Toe and
Yeah,
kind of getting a bit too emotional because of that, instead of being the cold hard calculated machine that Rakuan usually is. But for the most part he is pretty calculated and he is emotionless and he is very talented and he uses his talent very well. So
he's talented. I give you that. Emotionless, no.
for
Like
the most
like
part he's
again, he
emotionless.
eh, from what we were told, he was emotionless. What we were shown is that nigga can be swayed very easily. The nigga can be swayed by a name, and then he can be swayed by a death. You know what I'm saying? The second one's not that bad, but still, like he knew. Because that's the thing, though. Like he really thought he could still fight on the first day. Yoko had to get him out of there. And then apparently on the second day, he was gonna continue to fight until Yoko told him, like, yo, let's cut the losses. So it's like both times he had to be talked out of his bad decision making.
Well, you would have won both times, and to be honest, I think he had the right decision, especially in hindsight, in the first day, because whether he died or not, Yoko was still in much better condition than Toe, so Yoko could have still potentially killed Toe. And that's better than the situation they had after the fact, where they had to face both the Haishin unit and Toe's army. So I think honestly, he had the better decision making than Yoko in the first day, but Yoko, he just looks up to Rakuan so much that he thought Rakuan would have been able to take care of anything the next day, which he was wrong about. So given the
Yeah.
situation, how crucial it was for the state of Han's existence, and it was the climax of the battle, and Toe is very injured, very extremely exhausted. So it's not like there's no risks on his part either.
Oh no, I'm not saying there's no risk involved, but again, if you couldn't fight the day after getting rest and healed up, you wouldn't have been able to let. So if he dies, Yoko's not leading any type of army. Morale is completely gone, and then all you got is the Baki nigga and the Haidon nigga.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Haidon could
Even
lead, because
even
then it would be Yoko and Haidon against the Hashin unit, because Toe's ass would be dead, assuming things go well.
right, but then even still, you got Kano who is gonna be bloodlusted, Rokuomi who's gonna be bloodlusted, the other nigga I can't Ryu Kokui, who's gonna be bloodlusted. Then you got Shin and them, who's gonna be angry that if Toe dies, like you know what I'm saying, these niggas is gonna turn up. So that battle is not Shin kills Yoko. Kyokai and Ray do what they do because now they have more men to just do whatever they want. And apparently, like I said, the Baki nigga got killed not by Rokuomi, but by one of his fucking subordinates. So that nigga's a non-factor. It would have been terrible.
Yeah, well, it was a tough situation no matter what, though. Rakuan also didn't have to. I think this is the worst part, that he could have chose to stay and like risk the gamble, but he chose to do that by fighting Toe himself, which he could have let Yoko do the majority of the work and just backed off a little bit at least. Like that was the
Yeah.
most emotional part of it all, where even with the wound through his neck, the man was still trying to do the most. It's like, why? You got a full health Yoko there. I guess he had the arrow through his arm, but you had Yoko there. He was pretty fresh.
Yeah, but Yoko would have got jumped and killed if it came down to it. If he backed off too much, Roku Omi at that point would have been able to kill him. Roku Omi and Kano together probably would have been able to do. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, like I
he was
said,
fucked,
Yoko
bro.
would have taken care of Rokuomi with the quickness. 4 slashes and Rokuomi's ass dead.
See, this thing you got to trade, my nigga. You can only kill one. You killing Roku Omi or you killing Toe?
Nah, he's killing Rokuomi then killing Toe after. What do you mean?
Nah, see, that's not happening.
Toe's exhausted, injured ass is not killing Yoko while Yoko's killing
Toe had
Rokuomi.
Toe had no significant injuries.
He was
He's
exhausted.
exhausted, yes, but he
Yeah.
wasn't that injured. He had no significant injuries. He was exhausted.
He was at
And
like
bro,
fucking like
in terms of
25%.
injuries, Yoko had more injuries. You know what I'm saying? He was more severely wounded.
Yeah, but that
So Toe
wound
would
didn't
have
really matter
definitely.
that much. Yoko was at like 80%, Toe was at like 20, 25%.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's crazy because like all of that, you know what I'm saying? And these niggas lost twice. So it's like
Yeah, because
what
Yoko,
happened to, what
yeah,
happened to
plot.
Yoko on the second day?
I don't know. What
Nigga
did
didn't.
happen? Rockwan didn't send him to do anything. He was waiting for the order. Like I said, he made the mistake of being too aggressive the first day, then he tried to overcorrect that and wasn't aggressive enough the second day. So he was a bit in his head, unfortunately. That's that experience at play.
Hilarious. You know, it's just not the greatness of the, you know what I'm saying, of Shin and Toe and apparently my nigga, like, despite the Rokuomi hate, nigga, if one of the unnamed soldiers can kill your general, nigga, that's pretty bad.
Well, the heavens had to make sure that Rokuomi doesn't do anything significant. So that's what I chalk that up to.
I ain't gonna lie, it's like, oh man, you could just put Rokuomi at a fucking C, at a D.
Rokuomi's like beefed up Gakue at this point.
Facts. He's
You
just
got that
there.
mad as fuck look too.
All right, who else is next?
Yeah, let's speed through this. So Keisha, I would say Keisha's at about a C. He's a bit too horny for the
C.
battle. He's a bit too horny for the battle. He's not as emotionless as he should be if he gets tempted like Kanki did. Granted, Kanki is a master of psychological warfare, so it's not like everyone's gonna be able to know Keisha's psychological weaknesses, but at the same time, you had such an advantage and you let it go like that. It's hard not to rate him low from that.
I would put him at a B, B plus maybe. Because like yes, that cocky thing was like, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is, but like one, he was able to get out of it under his own power. Two, like literally the way he got out of it was by staying calm and keeping a cool mental. So it's like I guess he fell for the trap, but then again, you know what I'm saying, he was able to rebound very quickly. And
Yeah,
then
but
how he
even that
handled
was complete BS because Zeno was like 2 feet away from him, and apparently Zeno didn't do anything in that time, and Keisha just walked away.
his people did what they had to do. Bati came, Kisui came.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying?
Kisui at that point was at the top of the hill. Kisui had to get all the way down to the bottom of the hill, and before he could even do that, Zeno was right next to Keisha, and for some reason he didn't finish him because of plot. But that was a terrible moment. That was a horrible moment.
I don't know. I don't remember it like that. I remember him charging down with his elite squad, fucking the Hashin unit up. Then Zeno came. You know what I'm saying? I just figured like his elite guards were protecting him. And like the last two that was with him was the ones he was like, all right, relax. We gonna find like the opening to come. And then that's when Kisui and them came, and you know what I'm saying, that was the opening he needed. So it's like,
Yeah, there just wasn't enough men for how close Zeno was to justify Zeno not getting to Keisha in the time it took Kisui to go to the bottom of the hill. I remember this moment very well because I trolled Draco nonstop about it. So, I used this
but
moment
nah.
religiously to downplay Zeno.
See, nah, I get what you're saying, but like Kisui's army was literally just shown like a couple chapters before to be able to ride down steep ass cliffs. So being able to ride down a regular hill fast is not too crazy. Like
Well, it was a pretty big hell, to be fair, and Zeno was right next to the dude. But yeah, let's not get caught up on this.
Yeah.
Kind of speed
But
through
yeah,
this stuff.
I put him at a B plus. Who's
Yeah,
next?
I put him at a C. Gyoun, I think Gyoun has a very good mentality. It's just the suicidal nature of him. Definitely
I
a
was just about to
negative.
say,
Yeah, that's definitely a big negative.
my nigga, if you took away the whole him fanboying over Renshojo, I put that nigga at S tier, but A, B plus A.
Well, he did suicide on the last day, and he
Yeah, that
is
was terrible.
he does have a tendency to want to underestimate his opponents because he just believes in himself that much, or like he believes in his master, if anything, that he's gonna pick the right way all the time. It's gonna be his path. That's gonna be the true path, and anything that runs contrary to that, like Kyokai and Shin being better than he expected, he kind of is like in willing denial. Like I don't know if Ahan's in willing denial. He's just arrogant. Like Yoon is actually in
Yeah.
denial, which is
See,
it's just not is not a good mindset to have in the battlefield.
Gyoun is the more arrogant toe that people want.
I think I think I'll put him at I think I'll put him at C because he did suicide. That you don't want a suicide bomber on your team. You don't want that. That's not good. That's no good. No
That's
bueno.
just- Nigga heard his fucking massive prophecy and literally switched his whole MO.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
imagine if Gyon fucks you over and you're like, he suicided? What the fuck? What made him do that? And it's like he heard the
yeah,
prophecy. The prophecy was
yeah.
calling to him, and you're like,
Nah,
what the fuck? What prophecy?
no, I'm with you. I'll be so pissed.
I would be so fucking mad, bro.
Oh,
I'd be
nah, yeah,
so
nah,
mad.
you're right. Nah, yeah, you got that one. You got that
The
one.
fucking
I mean,
prophecy, bro. What fucking prophecy, you piece of shit.
oh man, yeah, that would fucking hurt.
I hurt my
All
soul,
right,
but Moten, where do you want to put Moten?
like I said, I put Moten at an A.
Okay.
If he just took himself a little bit more seriously, he'd be a S tier easily. Like if that nigga actually put in time to train and get stronger, not just like you know what I'm saying, better with his parrying skills, but to actually get stronger, he'd be fucking beast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he doesn't train. I just think some natural limitations there, physical limitations. I'd probably put him at an A because, yeah, he could take himself more seriously, but there's no real glaring apparent flaws that are really tangible on the battlefield. He kind of puts in whatever work he can. Even though he's a strategist, he's willing to get gritty if necessary. He's willing to have himself be kind of a sacrificial lamb if necessary, but he's also not trying to do too much at the same time. He's just always solid in terms of he knows what he can do and he goes by that. He's pretty objective.
Yeah, yeah, so solid A.
Where do you put Shin? I know we could spend a long time talking about Shin, which I don't want to do.
Mm.
I think Shin is kind of arrogant in he doesn't really have a desire to improve strategically. He does a little bit, but I think he's so arrogant that he doesn't want to read any books because he think they would be boring, quote unquote. He's that type of guy.
On the quickness, I would just say A. Wouldn't be mad at B plus.
Hmm.
It's
He
just
he did chase after fucking Riboku instead of killing Kisui. That was huge, but that was a lot of years ago. So it's like how much can we use that against them?
out of all of the Chase for Boku scenes, I think that was the best one.
Nah, it goes shits on that one. But
Mm.
I don't know. Shin's a tough one. Shin's a tough one.
Yeah, let's save Shin for a different video because we got a discussion.
Why do you want to do a part two to this?
Yeah, we can.
All right. I think we should stop it here then, because we don't need to go over every character in quick succession if we're gonna do a part two.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the rest of these characters: Token, Oki, Renpa, Raboku, Oh, Yotanwa. Yeah, nah, yeah, we can do a part two.
Yeah, this is a good topic. I got some good topics saved up, man. I got some good topics, but thank you to whoever pulled up. We got 6 people in the chat. Mike, thanks for pulling up. Wizzy, been a long ass time. Thanks for pulling up. Jon Snow, he's always here when he can, so salute to you. And I think that was
I'm
everyone.
sure.
Yeah, I think that was everyone. The other people didn't comment, but appreciate whoever showed up. We're gonna do a part 2 to this. We might stream tomorrow or the day after. We'll see. But yeah, later.
Oh, real quick before you end, Kill Kai's S rank.
Uh,
I know you don't have it on the
whatever.
list, but Kill
Part,
Kai's
part,
S.
part, part 2 awaits. Part 2 awaits. Peace out, guys.